Okay, good evening. Welcome back to Allergic to Stupidity. It is November the 12th, and today's little chit chatty is about the wonderful joys of inclusiveness and things that we want everybody to be happy. Well, let's have a reality check. Everybody can't be happy. That just doesn't happen. My example would be what just happened in the States. Democrats voted for Harris and the Republicans voted for Trump. So half of the country is not happy because their candidate didn't win. My nastier one is neo Nazis would like all the Jews killed. The Jews would like to live. Which party is not going to be happy? One of those parties isn't going to be happy. And they got me with a school I worked at. Smile, smile. Schools, it's the secretaries and the custodial staff. If you're a teacher, they make or break it. Sometimes you just have to roll your eyes at the administration. They're dotting the I's and crossing the T's. And it was a school that said, but we want everybody in your class to be happy. I'd like everybody to be in my class to be happy too. That makes my class run a whole lot smoother, a whole lot easier. But sometimes it doesn't work. So one of my kids said, can we just have a year where we don't have to do any schoolwork? I was like, I'm sorry, honey, but I have to make sure you're ready for high school next year. So yeah, you got to do schoolwork. He said, I just like to be able to spend a whole year just hanging out with my friends. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. So he's smiling things. But I had a bully in the class, and she was a very subtle bully. She would go around and people's hats off. And you tell the kids, if you got a bully in the class, you just ignore them because they're looking for a reaction. If you don't give them a reaction, eventually they'll give up. That's hard. That is very, very hard. But that is the reality. And if that's not going to work, then you literally walk away. So, to quote the Bible, somebody once asked Jesus something similar to that. What happens if somebody won't accept you as you are? He said, then you leave their house, brush the dust from their home off your shoes, and don't return until they're willing to accept you for who you are. Right? So even he was saying that you can't make everybody happy. But in part of that, making everybody happy, is inclusiveness, because if everybody feels like they're part of the team, they're going to cut down the bullying, and we're going to cut down the ostracization, and I think I said the word right, and we're going to make people happier because they're going to feel like they're part of the team. I'm part of the group. And it is a big push, and we do try, or at least I try as a classroom teacher, to make sure that everybody is feeling as part of the team and they're part of the group. And my bully, she was a really nice kid. I really hurt for her. She had other issues. But a week ago, a principal from Nova Scotia put out to the area that his school was going to be having the Remembrance Day service on the Friday. And I'm not sure if he was having it on Friday because some provinces like Newfoundland, Remembrance Day is still a stat holiday, unlike Ontario. So I'm not sure if Nova Scotia has Remembrance Day as a stat holiday, or if he just realized all the servicemen would be at the cenotaph. So we'll do it this day because we're going to invite the servicemen to come and be part of our service. Wonderful idea. I think it's great. Only he even said, we are a school of inclusiveness. We want everybody to feel part of the group. So would you please not wear your uniforms? Excuse me? First of all, it's a Remembrance Day service where we are remembering the vets. Okay? Next, when we encourage inclusiveness, that means we're accepting that person as they are so that they can feel like they're part of the group. So if you have a young lady who is Muslim and she wears the headscarf, then she wears the headscarf and we don't make a big deal of it because she wears the headscarf. If I'm Christian and I want to wear a cross, then I wear a cross and nobody makes a big deal of it. If you're American and you want to have an American flag stuck on your binder, then have an American flag stuck on your binder. It's all part of inclusiveness and making people feel like they're accepted for just the way they are. So when he came off with that and said, well, we would love you to come to our Remembrance Day service, etc., but please don't wear your uniforms. That's a slap in the face to anybody who's in the military. But it goes against everything he's trying to do by talking about inclusiveness. So it was sort of that doesn't go. A and B don't go. We might like to say it's hypocritical, but I'd say almost an oxymoron. It's the opposite of what you're trying to say. Now, the premier of the province absolutely came out and just tore the guy a strip. I had never was able to find out what happened. I hope the principal had enough common sense to say, oops, I made a mistake. You're right. Please come, wear your uniforms. Would love to meet you. The kids would love to talk to you. That's great. And from a teacher standpoint, that's a wonderful idea, because then it doesn't make these guys that are walking around, especially since this is Nova Scotia, in black and white uniforms, or the Blue Works uniforms, or Army uniforms, it makes them less scary. And for those kids who happen to be attending that school, who also have family members who are in the military, it makes them go, yes, that's my daddy, or that's my mommy, or my uncle, or my whatever. So anyways, that's my little thought for the day about inclusiveness and making everybody happy. We can't make everybody happy. We can work really hard to make the majority of the people happy, but there's no such thing as making everybody happy. So next federal election, the Conservatives are going to be happy, or the Liberals are going to be happy. It's not going to be both sides, because it just can't happen, right? It just can't. We just try really hard to make as many people as possible happy. The good of the many outweigh the good of the one, to quote the character Spock. And that's all we can do. We just have to. And then if we're the ones that aren't happy, then we have to just accept it and go with the flow, so we can still feel part of the team. Okay? Anyways, that's my... I think it's more of a WTF, somewhere between allergic to stupidity and a WTF on this gentleman out on the East Coast. Anyways, take care, have a good evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.